Welcome back to On the Mat. For this week we're going to be doing attacking mace. We're going to do the standard technique and then we're going to throw a lot of different variables and variations at you. So we're going to start with our feet together. Mr. DeVee executes the step-through punch. I'm stepping back into my left neutral, getting my left inward block, elbow or above, right hand's positioned and chambered. I'm going to go to my forward bow. I'm going to try to extend and move that partner back as my right hand snakes up and tries to control the wrist. As I enter this zone, I'm going to change the distance. I'm going to come in with my roundhouse ball kick to the groin and position my foot on the inside. Try to keep control of his wrist to control his width. Left hand is going to then, once I hit the floor, the left hand is going to come in with a diagonal uppercut to the short ribs, create this posture so that I can get his back. I'm going to sidestep. Left hand's going to sink into the skin, and I'm going to drive this knee, get him down to the floor, and collapse. One of the main problems at the end of this technique that a lot of people have is they throw the knee, then they start to let go and they change their point of focus. And they focus on the cover-up. The problem with that is this is still the attacker. So once I drop, I want to keep this position. That way I can enter different zones, maybe go in the crossing talon, or something might change. This guy might buck back, and I'm going to have to change my technique and stay engaged. So don't lose this. This is a good control position with both hands. So one more time, I'm going to go by the book. So I step back, establish my base, punch, and my kick. The uppercut, I can hit this eye. This is a little bit of an insert to keep him there. Drive the knee. You see I have to step out for the knee to give me that open position for my hips to drive that knee, and then drop. And I can always change up on this. Okay? Now, that's in our vacuum. That's the ideal technique. A lot of times we're getting too stuck within that framework. So we need to get out of it. Attacking mace is a great technique where you can do a lot of things with it and look at it from different positions. First and foremost, we're not going to be starting with our feet together and hands up. This is very ideal. If he's already in his fighting stance, in most cases, I should already establish a stance. It doesn't have to be a fortified fighting position. I can just try to be calming this person down, but I'm basically in a loose neutral. My hands are up and I'm going to bait this zone. We can look at the attack a lot different. Rather than the big step-through punch, he can do the jab off the front hand. He can switch his feet. He can do the boxer-style punch, still off the backhand. Or if the range is different, then he can throw it with a big step-through, right? Or you can do combinations where he's throwing his left and right, where I'm working both hands now. So you gotta introduce all this to your students and let them play with it and develop some positioning. We'll start with the jab first. So I'm starting in my stance. I want to get away from my block. Not that the block isn't good, but it takes a lot of energy and time to try to block him. Plus his jab is going to be really fast. So if he does it up to speed, that's what I'm looking at. So for me to establish a block off that, by the time I get there, he's probably going to be coming in with the second jab. So let's work it more of as a parry. As I'm guiding him past, I'm trying to bait him to that zone, and I'm going to try to feed in, step drag, flank him, and sink this punch into his ribs and try to move this guy back. So as I do that, I can be here. Now I can do the technique and try to go for this, but the problem is if I don't cause the injury, he's going to snap that hand back. So as I extend, I don't have it anymore. But I want to keep this hand up. So I can look at controlling if I have the opportunity, but it's going to be hard to in the thick of things. So try the technique free, where you don't grab at all. We're only going to do bits and pieces. So I have my block and my punch. I can enter with my kick. You can see how this hand just checks, and I can drive that uppercut. Okay, so one more time. So I'm going to go parry and punch, right? See, maybe I missed. I get to my check, and then with the kick, I get the uppercut. I like this position because it tells me where his leg's at, right? So I can reposition accordingly, right, if I want to change my technique. The next thing to look at is maybe you don't want to do the kick. You know, the kick is, for DeVee to block this kick, if I'm in here, right, it's very easy. His hands, you can drop that elbow down and run right into his arm. So maybe I'll do it without the kick, but I can still do the maneuver to get to the position. So I parry, I sink this, and then I step for the position and drive and strike. Once I get into here, now we're grabbing, so the technique doesn't become free at all. Okay? So one more time, I get to here. Now let's introduce the tap. This is a very natural reaction. DeVee sees that punch coming, and it's a very clear way to counter, right? And then he can try to strike off his hand, okay? So what I need to do is I need to keep my technique flowing. That's the great thing about Kempo. One of the most unique things is the sequential flow. Just because one move gets hindered, you still have more moves to do. So I get this parry, it just puts me right in the position that I need to. I can enter with my kick here if I need to, or I can just step in and try to control that arm, get control of his width, and drive that punch. Another insert here is if he parries this to get this into the eyes, right? And that can set up everything else where I can start to do the rest of my technique. Okay, next thing we're looking at, okay, is if I get up to here and we're going to the knee. So I have my roundhouse kick. I'm driving for a position to get this knee strike, but maybe the range changes. So a good way to work this is maybe if I want to stay at range off this jab, I can get to here and just look at my different kicks. That's a lovely one. Maybe rather than engaging, maybe I don't read that well, maybe I just sidestep and just kind of shifting my stance over, moving my target, and I just get the kick. Where I get the combination of kicks. So now I'm going 1, 2, right? So we're doing that again, we're going off this pair. And then I can really kind of work in and try to cut down on those zones. Let's change the footwork now. I'm going to change my position on you too. If he's doing boxer style punch now, I can still do the same technique, but what I got to watch out for is this overhand, the roundhouse. So what I need to do is I need to zone, get this hand up. See how it changes width? I can almost like push him back, and I can do that as I drive forward. I can get into here, get in position, or I can change my kick and stay at range so I'm here. He can still have that tap, you know, and I can see where he's feeling it. And we learn that in checking the storm. You learn it this way, or this way, or you can look at it almost like evading the storm. Right? So he throws that punch, and he taps that, and I'm in position. Now I can go straight. You look at, I mean, this could be whatever you want it to be. Who cares about that? But this position is just like protecting fans. You know, but the kick comes first, and then the punch. If he does double, now you're looking more at protecting fans concept. You know, you see how it's the same? It's the same motion. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Or you could be 1, 2, 3. You know, you got all these variables to play with. Okay, so let's review that one more time from this position. So he has the big step through. We have our standard technique. Right, this is what we're working off of. And drop. You do it off the jab, doing it all free, right? No grabs, just positioning. Right? You can do it where he's doing it boxer style. I'm working it off the back. I really want to try to flank him. Right? Kick back here. I can either enter, see the front kicks there. Right? Then I can go on top of the eyes. I can do it for the double. Go 1, 2. Then I can protect the fans. Lost the arm. It's all right though. That's the thing about being free. You're going to lose things. You know, you can set that in. You can do it for the jab, or I enter with the kicks. So I go here, maybe I enter with a kick, he starts to fade away or reposition, and I come off that back. I hope you enjoyed this week's On the Mat. We'll see you soon.